Alrighty, well, a very, very, very happy Monday, and welcome to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. It is a Monday, March 23rd, 2023. Excited to be with you guys, and good afternoon. For the next 2 hours, we'll be taking you guys into the weekend coverage, into everything that, we're going to get, everything that we're going to get into. There was a lot of local sports that we want to unravel and unwind and get our heads right here because, a lot of championship games. And now we're moving into, now we're going to go ahead and start moving into the NCAA Tournament. We had World Baseball Classics going on this weekend. And a matter of fact, there's a game schedule actually could be going on right now, and I actually have it on. It's on FS2, so it's going to be. You know what? This was a repeat from last night. As a matter of fact, maybe if I get things right here, let's see what game is on. Nope. This is actually going on right now. So if you guys are wanting to be a part of the Baseball Classic world, you have Dominican Republic taking on Nicaragua in the Baseball Classic pool. And I actually have that on right now. I was watching a little bit of Korea, and not Korea, but we all watched a little bit of the World Baseball Classic this morning. I woke up this morning tuning into the Baseball Classic, then on FS2, and then I tuned into a little bit of, they show the highlights of the game of Xavier and Marquette over the weekend. We'll talk about that. And then just kind of as I was getting stuff ready this morning for the show. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. I know I had a really good weekend. Told you guys on Friday, got a chance to spend time with the girls. And yesterday, we went out and went some baseball shopping. The oldest is going playing some softball. Excited. I'm excited. And, they've done sports in the past. Both of them, my oldest I know has done gymnastics. Last year, both of them have done soccer, indoor soccer. And this year, kind of changing things up, my oldest is going to do softball while my youngest is going to once again do a little bit of soccer. So, I mean, I like it. I love doing the sports. I love doing especially sports that I know, such as baseball. And I just, the one, I was told by a wise man earlier this year, I ended up getting hurt last year. And I don't know the estimate time frame that I'm going to be out with an injury. Potentially going to have to do surgery, and we'll see. And one thing I've been told is while I'm out, it's just like every other time, is spend as much time as possible, doing these things and taking care of being with your children. And it doesn't just relay back around to, me being injured, but I'm really, in a life right now that I think I struggle the most in trying to equally balance my personal life to putting time for this program to my actual life. I feel like there can be some overlaps and there could be misconception and intentions. my oldest did a little bit of scouts this year, and scouts is now going to uh, co commingle with softball practice this starting this week, and so the ability of her doing scouts may be have to put on a hold. But I started attending her scouts, and I have zero knowledge of soccer. I have zero knowledge of scouts. I've never been in soccer. I've never been in scouts. I barely watched it myself. So when I was approached that, hey, these we're going to do scouts, I'm like, oh well, I don't really know what to think of it. It's cool. I just don't know what to think of it. So I started going to I went to one scout meet a couple weeks ago with my oldest, and I was like, this is kind of fun because it was kind of like a big interaction where both the parents and the child kind of, mainly so for the child, but the parents and the child kind of gets themselves involved. And and so I was like, all right, man, that sounds pretty cool. Maybe I should want to go to more of them. And now I see that the schedule's changed. Same thing as far as my oldest had like a little derby race where she got a brick wood and she had to carve it out and decorate it, and she got a chance to race her car among her other fellow troops, and I thought that was just pretty exciting to attend and to be associated with. Now you'll see. Uh, Now we see her starting softball. Right now, practices are on Thursdays or on Fridays. So, pretty excited yet again to see it. So, yeah, if you guys are wanting to watch World Baseball Classics, Juan Soto, and they're just announcing the lineup: Julio Rodriguez, Manny Machado, Rafael Devers. I mean, this is a pretty intense lineup for the Dominican Republic. So, there'll be getting way underway. So we'll give you guys maybe a scoring update as the game goes on. But yeah, so I got a chance to go pick out on Sunday. We stopped by Dick's Sporting Goods, picked up a baseball helmet and some batting gloves. Then we worked our way over to a couple other stores and grabbed her a baseball bat. And she's using a friend's baseball glove, and it's kind of awkward because I throw right-handed and I catch with my left hand, and my oldest is the opposite. I'm like, it's going to be new to get used to. So we picked her up a baseball glove. Now she'll get a chance to choose whatever she wants to wear, and her bag hopefully comes in time before practice. But I'm very excited because I got a chance to do this one-on-one with her. She got a chance to pick out this fun stuff. And we're just having a blast. So we're all ready for baseball. Had to get my youngest one because she tagged along with us a couple of things. You know how that works here. But we got a chance to get that out of the way. I'm excited. It begins this week, and I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend yourself. Impact a little bit of sports. Got a chance to watch a little bit of. Got a chance to watch a little bit of NCAA basketball as the championship games went underway. Watched a little bit of Xavier. I think that was a team I was kind of falling for. Watching a little bit this weekend. Had a great performance. Really took care of business against Creighton, which I thought was going to be more of a closer game. But I think Xavier held themselves pretty well, but they fell short. They fell short to Marquette, which has kind of been that team in the East that's just difficult to beat. So, I mean, congratulations to Marquette for winning the Big East Championship Tournament. And now Xavier's eyes is set for the NCAA brackets, which we will prolong and give more information out about that to you guys. So, World Baseball Classic, we're watching, there's a game going on right now. Tuned a little bit to the United States and Great Britain game. And first thing that caught my eyes, and I'm sorry, but, what type of thought process was put into the Great Britain's jerseys? Let me see if I could pull that up. Great Britain's jerseys. Let's see. Like, okay, so one thing that I've noticed over the the one thing I noticed over the time frame in in the World Baseball Classics is I've kind of been tuning in to seeing what type of uniforms that these countries are wearing. All right. And I popping it up here, so bear with me, you guys. Um, and one thing that I've noticed watching the game is how some of the jerseys are pretty cool. I mean, I really like. So I'm distracted because I'm trying to get the jersey up here so I can show you guys. But I was really excited about I enjoyed the Puerto Rico jerseys, but then I see Great Britain's jersey, and I'm just like, I saw like you see okay, so I don't know, like Nicaragua's jersey isn't um, too fancy. I mean, but they have some colors in the letters, and they have some colors in the seams and whatnot. So, but Great Britain's home and away jersey, they're just they're just solid white and gray, and they have kind of like if you you know I don't know, it's just like if you I guess went to a spreadsheet and then you went to a Word document, you found a font and then you just printed it out. Nonetheless, the most basic font to be determined. I swear, allergies are really kicking my ass every time I do a show in the morning. But all right, so Great Britain, watching U.S. and they go on. U.S. goes on to win 6-2, and this is a game that started at 10 p.m. And I come to realize, I was like, all right, listen, gosh. So I was coming to realize that United States was a big weekend thing, and for me, it was a huge deal. I wanted to watch this game because we wanted to see how U.S. goes, and I think out of all teams, U.S. is one of my favorites. They go on the win, and they faced Mexico yesterday, and we'll talk about the weekend series over that and what they're planning to play today. But overall, got a chance to watch some United States baseball, and games time started at 10. Kind of reminded me that I have to start maybe mentally getting myself in the swing of things because baseball is going to start later in the day, and especially later at night. 10 p.m. is pretty late. Normally, I've been going to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So baseball games will last longer. Different adjustment watching some of these games because I'm acclimated. I'm getting used to the new rule changes in spring training and Major League Baseball. That there's no pitch clock. There's no, everything is kind of slowed down, and so we get a chance to see, our guys just kind of go back to the normal, basic routine, and not have to follow any rules or regulations on that matter. So kind of new, but I caught a little bit of sports over the weekend. Nothing too impressive, and so we'll go all about that. But kind of probably the biggest news coming out of the weekend, out of all the sports, is that something that I almost thought we weren't going to see, and that was the Hall of Fame in the WWE. Last back on Friday, it was announced that Rey Mysterio will be inducted in the honorary induction of the 2023 Hall of Fame, and I thought that was pretty incredible. And Rey Mysterio had a kind of a controversy trying to talk and display his emotions about everything that took place. But here is what he had to say on SmackDown about him being announced that he was going to be inducted into the 2023 Hall of Fame class of the WWE.
Ray, we've been watching this unfold for months, and things between you and Dominic don't seem to be getting any better, especially on such an important night.
Megan, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I'd rather not comment on the situation with my son and I. It's been very difficult.
Well, Ray, before we let you go, congratulations are in order. It was announced tonight that you will be inducted into the 2023 WWE Hall of Fame. How would you describe the emotions you're feeling?
I'll tell you what, this right here is the best feeling in the world. It's an accolade that so many of us superstars dream of having one day, and at the end of the day, the people that love me the most will be right by my side.
Ray, congratulations.
All right. Well, that was Rey Mysterio on his take on being inducted into this year's Hall of Fame, and I think, listen, he's accomplished so much, and I know that there's rumors and there's conversations about Rey Mysterio being kind of winding down towards the end of his career. This whole storyline potentially being facing Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. Only two other superstars have went into the Hall of Fame before they officially retired. One has been Goldberg, and two has been Ric Flair. And so, I think, like I said, it was kind of skeptical if the WWE was going to have a Hall of Fame class this year. And I think this really kind of bleeds into maybe the storyline that he's going to have, or that he currently has, with Dominic Mysterio. And so Conan will be inducting him. And from my information, the Great Muta and Batista will also join Ray this year, heading into the class of 23 in the Hall of Fame for the WWE. So we'll kind of pay attention to that. We'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about Rey Mysterio being inducted into the Hall of Fame. We'll talk a little bit more about SmackDown tonight. Back on a Friday night, everything that kind of unraveled, that fatal five-way, what happened during that match. He will be facing Gunther at WrestleMania. Cover all the local sports here, from Cincinnati Reds to Kentucky Wildcats baseball. Here, get you guys ready for Monday Night Raw. Get you guys also ready for NCAA bracket tournament, both NIT and NCAA tournaments, which games actually begin today. So we'll come back and we'll talk to you all about that. I want to bring back my Superstar of the Week and Show of the Week, XFL highlights and all that still to come. Stick tuned. Don't go nowhere. The throw-in is just getting underway here on a Monday morning. Thank you guys for tuning in to the throw-in. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you guys are tuning us into on Facebook, Twitter, thank you. Like, share it with your friends. Let us know we're on live now for the next 2 hours. Make sure to have those notifications on. Don't miss a single episode. And for those who are listening to us on podcast, thank you. Wherever you guys are from, if you guys are on the road, if you guys are at work, wherever you guys are listening to us from, making us your sports show, we thank you and welcome you to the program. All right, we'll take a break, step aside, come on back. More sports still to come. You guys are listening to the Throw-In with Justin. That's me right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty. Come on back to the Throw-In. You know what? None of this is possible without the help and thanks to StreamYard. StreamYard.com, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. StreamYard Studios, where you can create your podcast, videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews. Check out the free version today at StreamYard.com. Kind of went over that whole spiel about StreamYard. Probably maybe make it an effort to do it maybe once a month to advertise it for you guys. So, just getting our heads right here on a Monday. And, we have a lot of things going on in the world of sports I want to share with you a little bit. So, important numbers here. MLB All right, we got 18 days away before opening day. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here at the bottom half of our number one. WrestleMania 39, in that case, just 20 days away before it takes place. And we're starting to see matches flow together. We'll talk about that heavily in our number two. Well, we did see over the weekend a couple of different things kind of transpire. Talk to you a little bit about Musketeers basketball, getting a chance to watch them. They went into Thursday taking DePaul, beating them 89-84. Friday, talked about them facing number 3 Creighton. They won 82-60. And in my opinion, my thoughts, Musketeers put up 40-plus points in both periods, in both quarters. And it didn't even compare to Creighton. I feel like they got in the lead. And there was moments where Creighton could have, should have maybe started coming back, but they didn't. Solely Boom put up 23 points, 4 for 4 at the free throw. And it was Solely Boom because I remember catching this game more solely. And it was Shaq Nungy who put up 17 points and 7 rebounds. And towards the end of the game, it was just Jack and it was Solely kind of just hammering it at each other. Okay. Colby Jones, 14 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double in the game. The Musketeers shot 47, from the glass, and 41 from 3 points. And so, they're, really, really solid game. Thinking, all right, they have an actually legitimate chance at winning this, but they had to face the number one seed, Marquette. And they ended up falling short to Marquette. 65-51 in the Big East Conference Championship Tournament. So congratulations to Marquette for winning the Big East. And now for Xavier, they will be waiting for their game on Friday as they begin and head into NCAA play. They'll be taking on number 14 at Kennesaw State in the Midwest Region Tournament. Cincinnati Bearcats men's basketball. They had a game on Friday against Temple where they annihilated them, keeping them less than 30 points. They won Friday 84-54. Landers Nolly put up 22 points. Mike Adams Wood put up 20 points. Dan Sculling Jr. put up 20 points. But Saturday, things didn't really turn well as number 1 Houston, beat the Bearcats. Final score 69-48. And kind of a little upset. It seems like both of these games here for the Bearcats and Xavier, they performed lights out. Game 1. But I think that they put too much energy in the first game that when it came down to the finals, they probably just really gassed and winded. Because it's kind of hard to believe that, especially like the Musketeers, can only put up 51 points into game 2, not like the Bearcats putting up 48. Probably one of the worst games they played. Cincinnati Bearcats did not make it to the NCAA Tournament invitation, but they will be heading into the NIT that begins this weekend, 9 p.m. at home against Virginia Tech. If you don't have tickets yet, tickets are still available. Get them while they last, though, and check into that. Kentucky men's basketball here. They played Friday for the SEC tournament against Vanderbilt, who had to play their way in. They ended up falling short by 7. Final score 80-73. Antonio Reeves put up 22 points. Jacob Toppin and Oscar Shibui. Excuse me. I'm all over the place with names this morning. Both put up double-doubles in their game. Although Kentucky's made it into the NCAA tournament representing the East. They'll be playing at 7 p.m. Friday against number 11 Providence. And so kind of one thing that we'll be looking into, and I think we have time to. Let's see here where we at. So let's do this. There we go. Let's share this page. I believe everyone can see it. Let me just double check on this end. All right, let me pop this up. And we got the NCAA bracket tournament. So this is the NIT schedule, TV channels, whatnot, That begins in 2 days, 23 hours, 31 minutes, and 12 seconds. 11 seconds counting. So let me just bring this up a little bit bigger so that you guys can see everything. All right. So it begins first round begins March 14th and 15th, as you can see here, and it's supposed to go through until March 30th. And the first region games, I believe, are held at home, and then everything else will be on the road. So kind of looking into it, you see teams like Oklahoma State, Youngstown, who went 24-9 on the season. I'm just scrolling down here on the left side of the charts. See where Cincinnati's at. They're not there. I see Villanova, Liberty, who had an incredible season. Santa Clara, probably teams who probably deserve to make it. You got Michigan, 17-5 on here on the west side NIT tournament. Cincinnati, 21-12. They will be playing at on ESPN, 9 p.m. March 15th, which will be Wednesday, against Virginia Tech. And if they can win on that game, they will be playing over the weekend against the winners of Rutgers or Hofstra. And then you see on the other side of the bracket, New Mexico, Utah Valley, Colorado, Seton Hall. So I'm kind of maybe looking at New Mexico versus Colorado, kind of like that matchup. Cincinnati versus Rutgers, kind of like that matchup maybe, heading into the quarterfinals, maybe Cincinnati and Colorado, kind of hopefully, and in Cincinnati regions. You look down at the bottom end, Clemson, dangerous team, dangerous basketball team. Anyone kind of favored maybe on this one side? I'm kind of liking. I'm gonna root for. Obviously Cincinnati's on my list. So I'm looking at the right side. So the NIT tournament, right? Kind of writing this down. I got the right side. Let's go ahead and get you my first thoughts and picks, right? Rutgers. Game 1, Cincinnati. And NCAA is all about, upsets. New Mexico got me in favor. You know what? I do want to see Colorado and New Mexico, but you know what? Seton Hall has had some impressive victories also this year. I'm going to go Seton Hall. Kind of has an upset. Clemson. Okay, and then we have UAB versus Southern Miss. I'm going to go Southern Miss on this one because I feel like you have to have a little bit of upsets in these tournaments. Vanderbilt or Yale? I'm going to go. Let's go Vanderbilt. Imagine just seeing Vanderbilt and Cincinnati again. Michigan over Toledo. I got to go Toledo over this one. In my opinion. So that's my right side. Left side in the NIT over here on the left side of the screen. I got let's go top from the top. Youngstown. I'm going Youngstown. Youngstown State. We got Washington State over Eastern Washington. I'll go Eastern Washington. And trust me, I was not planning on doing this. I'm going to do this so as we follow along the NIT tournament. And we'll do the same thing for the NCAA tournament. I'll show you what I'm going to do here next. North Texas taking on Alcorn. I'm going North Texas. And then I got Sam Houston taking on Santa Clara. I'm going Sam Houston. I got Oregon taking on UC Irvine. I'm going UC Irvine. And I'm not doing this based off of, records. I'm not doing this based. I'm kind of just doing this based off of who I think could win. And you got to remember, this NCAA tournament is up for anybody, up for grabs. Florida taking on UCF. I'm going to get UCF in this one. And the only thing that's different that these teams named in bold, that's the home team for the game. And that's the higher seed of one. Wisconsin over Bradley. I'm going to go ahead. I guess I'm going to go with Wisconsin on that one. Liberty over Villanova. I'm going to have to go Liberty on this one. All right. After the program, I'm going to upload these bracket my picks for the first round. That will be taking place tomorrow and Wednesday. And then we'll come back at the end of the week and see how we did and maybe try to do some more. Kind of interesting because this is the first time that I went into a bracket, right, for whether it's NIT or NCAA college, where I'm actually invested into learning out and predicting each team. And I'm doing them live with you guys. Now, it says here, hey, Orleans Arena for the NIT Championship, March 28th, will be the semifinals, and then the NCAA. So they're both going to be played at the Orleans Arena there. And the championship is on March 30th. So I guess in this sense, kind of just keep out, and we'll keep to you guys about what's going on around this region of sports, I guess. I kind of want to sit here. Let me try to get the other one pulled up. So we have that. We'll come back to that. We'll go close. Let's do bracket games. All right. Let's see how this works. I'm going to try to hit bracketology. Yes. All right. So the final four, and I'm going to bring this to you here, just like that screen. Present page, NCAA bracket predictions. That's predictions. Okay, so these are predictions. Let me just double check before I display this. And all this information, by the way, so these are predictions. Okay. How do I do this? Live bracket. What about that? There we go. We got live brackets here. All right. I got it. I finally got it. All right. So now let's go ahead and share the screen with you. March Madness bracket. This is the tournament. I want everyone to be able to see this. If you guys are tuning us into on our program, let's go ahead and just have you guys see this down here. All right. I'll be popped up, and let me pop up the page so I can see myself. All right. So where do we stand among here? We got the Midwest, the South, the East, and the West. Over here on the South, you got Alabama, Maryland, West Virginia, San Diego State, which is kind of maybe a low-key game that I'm looking into. They'll be playing Charleston on Thursday night, I believe. Virginia, Creighton is on the other side, kind of getting a break from Creighton. I mean, you could beat Creighton. It's more like Marquette, which I want to kind of kick in the rear end. Baylor, Arizona, Princeton. Okay, so that's in the South, kind of that bracket. The East bracket, are facing them on the other side of the board, is Midwest. Got Houston, Northern Kentucky, which is good. You see Northern Kentucky in there. Let me jot that down. So kind of jotting down teams that I kind of also want to semi-follow. We have Drake, Miami, Indiana, Kent State, Iowa. Xavier, we'll talk about that a little later on this week, but on Friday they'll be taking on Kennesaw State, number 14. And then you got Penn State, so it doesn't really look too bad. Down here below, you got the East Side as Purdue, Memphis, Duke, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, and Providence. So Kentucky's won. Xavier, Kentucky. And they'll be playing Friday. And Kansas, Montana, Michigan, USC is also a nice, good one. UCLA. I really like UCLA as of late playing NCAA basketball. Gonzaga is always a top one to look out for. Gonzaga. I guess what I'm looking for, they got St. Mary's. There you go. Do we see where is, okay, you got to have, there you go. Marquette's down there. Marquette is also one, in my opinion, just to kind of keep an eye out. He's there on the East with Kentucky, East, Midwest, South, West. All right, so I got about, I don't know, solid 6-7 teams that I'm kind of looking in for. Kind of how everything is supposed to kind of break down, and we'll cut to a break here in a moment. I just want to finish talking about this. But round 1 is played Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to be round 2. We'll wait about a couple of days because the next week will be round 3 next weekend, and then the following, earlier in the weekend will be the final round for the Elite 8. So we'll figure out all that fun stuff. Play-in tournaments. We have to, there's a couple of spots open. So we currently have 4 spots available. We have this number 16 seed in the South, which is who will be playing Alabama. And that's going to either be Texas A&M CC or Southeast Missouri State. I have favored, in my opinion, that's going to be tomorrow at 6:40, and I'll kind of give you my first 4. These are the first 4. I'm going for Texas A&M. Okay, I like that team. And then the nighttime one tomorrow night is Mississippi State taking on Pittsburgh. That's for the Midwest one for the 11th seed. And we'll be taking on Iowa State, whoever wins. I'm liking Pittsburgh in this one. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Then on Wednesday, you got FDU taking on Texas Southern for the East. And they will be facing Purdue for the winner of that one. That game's at 6:40 on Wednesday. I'm taking Texas Texas Southern. And then Nevada taking on Arizona State, will be facing TCU, the number 6 seed. And that game will be at 9 p.m. on Wednesday. And I'm going to take Nevada, in my opinion. So those are my first four predictions. So we will tune into that over the weekend. But that's kind of your NCAA bracket tournament. Head on over to the CBS website and check out their bracketology that they have, all available from your discretion of hands. Let's come on back. Let's kind of unravel the world of baseball, college and professional. Cincinnati Reds had a couple games this weekend. We'll tell you all about that when we come back. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. Laugh it to the bank like ha 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 ha. I got it in 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s. Laugh it to the bank like.
Welcome back. Kind of wrapping up some more small things. Alrighty, you guys, welcome back to the Throw-In, and let's talk a little bit about the take a look into baseball now. Bottom half of the hour of hour number one. Take you guys up till for 2 hours of this program. And so, it was a busy weekend all around. We covered a lot of NCAA sports, and it's now time to talk about the Cincinnati Reds. And, on this scoreboard, I wouldn't necessarily say that the Reds did very well. And I think there's a little bit of a couple of things I think we need to understand. For one, when you, and please just pardon me here. For one, when you, I have everything going, where's everything else? Okay. There we go. Come on. There we go. Got that. I see what happened here. So I had everything lined up, and then next it's been a couple hours, and I don't have everything lined up again. So let me just once again get everything lined up. This is going to be for the 10th. There we go. Come on. What was that? No. It does not make sense to me. Let's see. All right, so I guess as we figure things out, I had it all ready for you guys, but listen, I think there has to be an understanding that when you are, although the weekend went 1-3, they had a doubleheader on Friday. They were taking on the Mariners, and then they were hosting the Diamondbacks, and they fell short to the Mariners 11-3 on Friday. They fell short to the Mariners on Friday, and it was kind of just an upsetting time. I think one thing that we have to remind ourselves heading into with these scenarios, couple things. For one, okay, we see how do I put this? For one, World Baseball Classic is going on, right? We have Dominican Republic taking on Nicaragua, if I'm saying that correctly, right now. And when they pop back on from commercial break, I'll give you the score update. But one thing that you realize is that you have players representing the organization that is currently out there in a different country or playing with a different team. That's going to kind of give you a little bounce back step from trying to make progress as a team, as a unit. So you don't have players that you want heading into the weekend series as you probably should, or you feel so. The second thing is that when you have a split squad, especially now, because we'll get into it here in a moment, but there's also amount of cuts that the Reds are having to make. That means your roster is less fulfilled. So they go on to lose Friday's game, but they bounce back to beat the Diamondbacks in the nighttime game. Final score 6-5, both teams putting up 8 hits, and the Reds giving up 1 error. Connor Overton goes 2 1/3 inning, giving up 3 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts on Friday's game 1. While we got a chance to also see a little bit of Will Benson contribute with his home run. If I can pull it up. I thought I did have it. Where is it? Let me pull it up here right now for you guys. Will Benson hit a home run. I kind of wanted to just play the highlight from it because it was a pretty decent home run that he hit. And now it doesn't seem that I'm able to get to it. So I'll just have to exit out of that. But he had a solid home run back on Friday, even though the Reds lost. Over on Saturday's game, we got a chance to see Chase Anderson hit the mound, and they fell short. 8 innings, and 8-7. The Rangers beat the Reds on Saturday. Chase Anderson put up 3 innings worth of work, 6 hits, 5 runs, 1 strikeout, and we'll be able to get you to this one here against the Rangers. So basically, what I want to give you here is the Rangers. This is what Will Benson had to say about his start back on Saturday.
I continue to work. I feel like I threw some good pitches. I feel like I could maybe expand the zone a little bit more when I got in the strike zone. But other than that, I was pretty happy with it. The body feels good. I haven't felt this good in spring training in I'd probably say 3 or 4 years, since probably 19. The velo's, it's pretty good. But yeah, I think I've used a 90, 92 in spring training with my best bullet, and my low fastball is 92 right now. So I'll take that. I think the pedigree. I know the accolades, and they're both really good players and superstar player caliber. I think you got to attack them like anybody else. I think sometimes you think, okay, this guy got this kind of money, this kind of thing, and it's like you got to go out there and kind of forget about that. No, it's just me against you, and you got to attack and kind of have that bulldog mentality and make your pitches. And I feel like the first at bat to Simeon I did. Second one he just kind of cued it, but you give credit where credit's due. Seager trying to get that guy out. He's a tough out. I've had trouble in the past getting him out, but I think I'll take 2 weak hits too. So it's progress. Yeah, good team over there. That's probably they're starting, 6 or 7 guys, so feel pretty good about it.
All right, that's Chase Anderson, some guy that we may be somewhat dependent on at some point this year. And then Sunday they wrapped up the weekend series, taking on the Dodgers, falling short 8-1. Graham Ashcraft went 2 1/3 inning, gave up 4 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Austin Romine went 1 for 2. With a home run in Saturday's contest. RBI. Joey Votto returns to and actually has his spring training opening day for him on Sunday. 0 for 2, a strikeout. Not too shabby. Overall, I don't think, obviously the win-loss record is not much looking into it. I'm looking at the list, and I'm looking at the starting pitchers and their outings, and I understand that there's still work that needs to be done with the bullpen, but I'm expecting these guys to go solid 3 innings now at least. There's no doubt about it. Connor Overton going 2 1/3, unacceptable. Nick Lodolo, I could see him, he gave up a couple of hits, definitely struck out a fair share of 5 guys in Friday night's ball game. I think it was a solid outing. I would like to see him go an extra inning because by opening day, which is, by the way, in just a few weeks, I want to see these guys ready to go a solid 6-7 innings innings of work. Chase Anderson's one of those guys who is fighting for a opening day roster spot. Graham Ashcraft too. Now, just because you have these setbacks, and I understand that, but you got to be able to, I think, go a little bit more, go the extra distance. If you're the Reds moving forward. So we'll have to kind of pay a little close attention to that as they head into a new week, and they will get ready to take on the Milwaukee Brewers coming into today. First pitch scheduled at 4:05. The Brewers come into today's game 6-9. You got Corbin Burns on the mound taking on the 8-9 Reds, and Brandon Williamson, another guy that is looking to make a opening day roster spot in baseball. Let me see if the lineups are ready. I can get rid of a couple of these and kind of close out some of my tabs. The Reds have their lineup ready, so let me give you that. They're scheduled in about 4 hours of gameplay. So their lineup here, thanks to CincinnatiReds.com. For all your Reds information, head on to their MLB homepage, CincinnatiReds.com, for more information. So here's the lineup given to you, subject to change prior to opening first pitch. Here's how the lineup stands. Batting first at second base will be Jonathan India. Will Myers will be playing the designated hitter spot, batting second. He's batting a batting average of 304 so far this spring with 3 RBIs. Batting third in right field is Jake Fraley, and boy, he's having a spring training to remember. Batting average is 375, one of the highest in today's lineup. 2 home runs, 10 RBIs with 3 stolen bases. Tyler Stevenson will be playing first base this afternoon. He'll be batting cleanup. Over there in left field, batting fifth is TJ Friedel. Kevin Newman is batting sixth at shortstop. Will Benson will do the job at center field. He'll be batting seventh. Batting eighth is Spencer Steele. He'll be playing third base, and batting ninth is the catcher, Luke Molly. So pretty exciting. As a matter of fact, and I'm saying correctly because Will Benson currently has a 440 batting average, the highest in today's lineup, with 1 home run, 3 RBIs. Couple of great things coming out of Cincinnati here over the past weekend. Joey Votto gets his nod return into Major League Baseball. He was entered into Sunday's game. A couple other subjects that we'll be talking about later on during this week is, and I've heard this story again, and I think it's time to actually talk about it. But is Christian Encarnacion Strand ready for the main roster? And if not opening day, how soon can you see him come up? So we'll be talking about that later on this week. Something I really do want to address, because the ERAs can be quite an issue at times. How much will the ERAs impact the Reds season? 5 players to cut. When we come back to top out hour number 2, I want to also give you a look into the players that have been cut and what is up for grabs in the battle that's still to possess as they work their way down to a 40-man roster prior to opening day. So that is still to come. We're going to take a break. Hour number 1 is complete. Come back with hour number 2. A lot still more to cover. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, great friends. What's going on here on a Monday? 102. Hour number 2 begins. Take you guys up for a 2-hour program. Hope everyone has had themselves a wonderful week. I know I have. I want to give a big shout out to our friends over there at Spreaker, who allows us a platform to upload and download our podcast onto audio platforms. Wherever you guys listen to your podcast, whether that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, that is all thanks to Spreaker. Find iHeartRadio, check out the Throw-In, make us your everyday podcast listening channel by tuning us in. Take us on the road while you're in the car, while you're driving, while you're at home, doing something, relaxing, or even at work. Take your mind off of things. Learn about sports with me and check out Spreaker. Thank you to Spreaker. So a lot is still to talk about, so a lot is still to go on, and only if things will like to work the way I want them to work. So we're talking about the Reds at the bottom of the hour, and a couple of things I want to kind of still touch base with you with the Cincinnati Reds. Something, I've talked about, there are going to be questions that we have throughout the week. For example, Joey Votto returning. Obviously, I'm expecting him to take it slow, but it's good to see Joey Votto back into the everyday roster, kind of see him get his feet wet. Regardless of the outcome of his season, whether this is going to be the last time we see him, whether this is going to be, he goes on to resign, there's a feeling in the air that this is the last, right? This is the last run. So I kind of want to see, milk every last ounce of Joey Votto into this season. And I want him as healthy as possible. But there are key moments like opening day, which is 18 days away, that we want him to be healthy. We want him to be on top of his game. And we really want to give him not only the support from the fan base, but the support that he needs going off into this quote unquote sunset. So great to see him back. As the Reds had to cut down some 5 players who they cut from camp this over the weekend. Nick Solak, Chucky Robinson's, Levi Stroud, Leon Richardson's, Jared Solomon. Now they got these guys got work to do, and it's simple. They're not. I think that they and this is where you have to leave room for growth, and everybody's going back down to the minor leagues, getting ready to work on things to hopefully improve and see sometime either this year, next year, or the year after that. But the one, because there was also a couple of concerns when it comes down to, okay, we're going to have to start cutting more people down because the Reds only have 56 players now. The goal is to get down to 40, right? Which means you're going to start seeing more of a regular day lineup. And, obviously Joey Votto's role is changing. You see Tyler Stevenson starting to make the adjustment over that first. But there's also a case for some of the younger guys. And there's just not a game or not a weekend where you can't go out and look at stats like Christian Encarnacion Strand, who had a impactful weekend, 3 for 3 on Friday night, hitting 3 hits, a home run, 3 RBIs. I mean, he's in the news. And I think, with the start of the spring training with Matt McClain and Christian and, you see Ellie De La Cruz, I think that's kind of also now encouragement into guys like Jake Fraley, who is now, Will Benson, who is carrying the spring training season right along. So some pretty good questions coming out of Cincinnati, but there's also there's 2 categories now. What does that mean? So they sent 5 people down to, they cut 5 people from camp. What does this mean for the current roles and positions? Well, right now there's 5 people currently competing for a utility role on the bench. You see Chad Pender, Richie Marte, Alejo Lopez, Josh Vosler, and Matt Reynolds. Now, let's be frank here. I don't know if I will see Alejo Lopez get an opening day start. Unless Richie Marte excels tremendously between now and the last day of spring training, then I think he's also going to get the nod down. Jason Volz is kind of competing. I currently favor Chad Pender and Matt Reynolds as your 2 utility guys right now in the infield or around the plate. With Joey Votto, I think with you when you have 3 catchers and Tyler Stevenson's kind of transitioning to a first baseman, so that means Joey Votto is your bench designated hitter guy. That's 3. You have your catcher. That's 4 guys, and I think that's kind of where you're going to sit at. But unless something else unless Pender or Reynolds gets hurt, that's where I kind of think people stand. They still also have a fighting position. We have 3 spots confirmed in the rotation. That is Nick Lodolo. There is Hunter Green, who gets the opening day nod, and then you also see you're also seeing Graham Ashcraft, who pitched this past weekend. 2 spots, 5 people competing for it. I like it. Luke Weaver, Luis Sessa, who's currently playing for the in the World Baseball Classics, Brandon Williamson, who will get the nod tonight or today, Chase Anderson, who you saw over the weekend, Connor Overton, who you also saw over the weekend. So 5 spots. Now, right off the bat, here's kind of where I'm also maybe thinking as well. Does David Bell go with a 5-man rotation and the rest relief pitchers out of the bullpen? Or does he go a 5-man rotation and keep a 6th guy in the bullpen as a relief starter in consideration that you may run into a scenario where you may have to throw him out there in the 3rd, 4th inning to eat up some innings throughout the week? If I was putting together this team, right now, Luke Weaver is one of my favorites, considering heading into opening day as my fourth or fifth guy. Brandon Williamson, although I think you're gonna give him the I think outings, which would definitely help his his work. I don't think he makes the cut. So it's great throwing him into the mix, but I think it really comes down to that fifth spot. And it comes down to Luis Cessa, it comes down to Chase Anderson, and it comes down to Connor Overton. Now, I believe that out of those three players, one of them should be that fifth starter, obviously. But I think the other one should be taking a role into the bullpen for longevity purposes. I don't quite think Brandon Williamson is there, but so I think it comes down to maybe give Chase Anderson that fifth spot, leave Luis Cessa and Connor Overton to fight for that relief starter in the bullpen, and then establish your bullpen from there. Because here's, as David Bell, this is what you could possibly do. One, and so hypothetically, if Weaver's number 4, Anderson's number 5, Cessa's that relief starter out of the bullpen, here's what you could do. If one of your 5 guys gets, doesn't have a good outing, which is going to happen, and it's something we're going to have to prepare for, you have a guy like Luis Cessa in the back end of your bullpen that's you can be used. Kevin, is it Gerbart is also another guy. He was also mentioned in the article, moving from starting pitcher to the bullpen. Maybe he could be another bullpen starter as well, because you could always use those 2 guys helping, as well as maybe use him in short-term scenarios. So the idea is that also, if you need to go to use a bullpen day, you could throw Luis Cessa in as a starter on day 6 and still kind of feel confident that he can give you innings and not really overstrain your bullpen. Now, that obviously gives us that your rotation that restarts benefits from that bullpen day and can capitalize and not have to get into jams on 2 innings worth of work. So that's kind of where I stand among the options that the Reds have. So we'll see. We'll pay attention to that and let you guys know. 56 men coming to come down to 40 men, 18 days away from Major League Baseball. World Baseball Classics is underway. Dominican Republic and Nicaragua is playing currently. I believe Dominican Republic has the lead. I'll tell you that in a second. United States, who we've been following, is 1-1 in their pool, losing yesterday to Mexico. Final score 11-5. Korea put up 22 points against China. The United States will play tonight on FS1 against Canada, and they'll wrap up their pool play on Wednesday against Colombia at home at 10 p.m. Quarterfinals start on Thursday for World Baseball Classics between Japan and Italy. First game announced at 6 a.m. on FS2. Catch out the quarterfinals here. We'll cover all that coverage. I believe it's 2-0 in the third for World Baseball Classic. You think about it, in the third. And you think about it, it started about an hour ago. Longer game. Xavier Musketeers around the baseball battle, not baseball, but around the Baseball Classic world here. Let me see where, because I have the information. There we go. All right, Cincinnati Baseball Bearcats. They took on They took on the Warfield over the weekend. The game was canceled on Sunday due to weather. Friday, they got swept both Friday and Saturday. Dylan Broski on Friday pitched a 1 inning, giving up 6 hits and 8 runs to the 12-3 loss. And then on Saturday, the Warfield lost 5-2, giving up with Chase Horse 5 2/3 of an innings, giving up 6 hits, 2 runs, and 3 strikeouts. Garrett Harker picks up the loss. He moves to 0-2. 1 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Carrington Cross, 1 for 4 with a run, a home run, and an RBI, as well as Ryan Nicholas, 2 for 4 with the home run and an RBI in Saturday's loss. They begin and they get ready for a 2-game series on the road, Tuesday and Wednesday against Winthrop Eagles. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Xavier men's baseball picking up a victory on game 2 on Saturday. The first 2 games on Thursday and Friday was rained out. They won they lost the first game on the doubleheader on Saturday. Final score 4-2. Ethan Brosecker, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 strikeouts. Matthew Dupre was 1 for 4 with the home run and an RBI in the loss. They come back and battle around and won 5-2. Grant Alizos, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 strikeouts. He picked up the victory, moves his record out to 2-2 on the year. Clay Schwerner picks up the save, pitched in an inning, striking out the side. Andrew Walker went 2 for 4, 2 runs, a home run, 2 RBIs on the game, while Garrett Schultz 1 for 3 and a home run in Saturday's game 2 win. Their next game is going to be their home opener game against Michigan at 3 p.m. as they will finally get a chance to come home after a long month of on the road. It was like one big West Coast trip they knocked out at the beginning of the season. Kentucky Wildcats baseball here. They took Wildcats took 2 for 3. No, they swept. They swept the Southern. They swept the Southern Illinois, bringing them to a 10-game win streak. They're currently 9-1 at home, 5-1 on the road. And Darren Williams on Sunday, 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs allowed. Chavez Seth won the game. He's now 1-0 on the season. Tyler Bozema won Saturday's game. He moves to 3-0 after a 5-inning, 3 hits, 2-1 outing. Jackson Gray 4 for 5 in the game with an RBI. And then Sunday, Zach Lee won the game 23-3 in 7 innings, 14 hits, 2 errors for the Wildcats. 14 runs in the 5th inning to secure their lead. Zach Lee went to 3-0 on the season after putting 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs in the books. Devin Brooks 2 for 4 with the home run, 4 RBIs. Ryan Wildsmith 1 for 4, a home run and 2 RBIs. Their next game is on Tuesday, tomorrow night, home against the Indiana Hoosiers at 6:30 p.m. So that is your trip around baseball. Finishing that up. All right, coming up next, we'll get you a little bit more. We'll finish up around local Cincinnati. All right, and an interesting story coming out for the Bengals, where I saw this. It's an article about NFLPA that calls out the Bengals for. Let me see this article here. There we go. Come on, give me an article. Yep. NFLPA calls out Bengals over workers' compensation benefits. Bengals ownership reportedly asked Ohio legislators to strip Bengals and Browns players of their workers' compensation rights. This was an article written by Wednesday, and it will explain all this about it and more. So to come, you guys are listening to The Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Esta canción
122 here on the 12 and taking you down into the 2 o'clock hour. 2 hours of the program. Will be back all week long. I believe I will not be doing a show on Wednesday because I have a lot of things going around and I'm busy. I know today I don't really have much going on. I got a couple of phone calls I got to make after this. Tuesday, I'm going to be on here doing a show. The wife will come home. She has a couple of things she has to do. So I may try to tag with her if I could get an early show tomorrow. And then Wednesday is probably going to be off limits for me. I don't know why. I know there's a couple of things I got to do. Oh, you know why? Is because my daughters have a meeting at school in the morning that I'm not going to be able to get ready for show. And I noticed it takes at least a couple hours to get ready for the show. Not just about the work that I got to prep, but the work that I want to do here. Hey, I'm going to throw it out there. If there's anyone here that has the free time that wants to help me set up the show, reach out to me, DM me, let me know. Thursday I should be fine. I'll be able, because I'm going to pick up my daughters after school on Thursday. Pick them up after school. I don't know about Wednesday. I might as well pick them up after school on Wednesday. We'll see. But I'm going to pick them up at school on Thursday because the oldest has baseball practice and we have doctors we have to go to. I'll be back Friday, although we have appointments on Friday too. So kind of a busy week down the road. So that's kind of what my schedule like. So anticipate, prepare for no show on Wednesday because of the meetings. Because by the time I'm not going to focus on doing the show. I'm going to take my girls to school, have a meeting. It takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, because it'll be both of them at once. And then coming home, I won't be able to do show in time. So that's still to come. Also want to go ahead and talk about, I'm working with Terry. If you haven't heard about Terry was the producer of Love's Not Enough, theoretical play that he put on last month. It was kind of like an all-weekend thing. Apparently got good results because he's been asked to come back April 7th and April 8th to come back and do more performances. So we're hoping, last week we were supposed to sit down with Terry, but some family emergencies took that away. And been in contact with him. He's interested in still wanting to do an interview this week sometime. So hopefully get a chance to get with him and get with him and get a chance to kind of just understand, figure something out. I do also want to send a shout out and our prayers and just, life happens. It happens a lot. And I don't think, when you're so caught up and consumed into what you're doing, sometimes you don't realize what everyone else. It's always good to stop, take a step back, and really, not just think about your life, think about someone else's life. Our good friends over there at Armchair Booking, Steve Barber, Dwayne Davis. It's been a while since I've seen them post an episode. Got a chance to talk to Steve over the weekend. He seems like he's doing fine, but life has been kicking both Steve and Dwayne right there in the ass, unfortunately. And I just want to, give my thoughts and incredible people. They're great broadcasters. They're great podcasters on that channel. On that note, Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. And I love listening to them. So whenever you kind of see an absence from somebody, and I'm not going to get too deep into it. They can share their stuff if they want to. All I know is that they haven't been able to put on shows because both of them have been doing a lot of things. A lot of life has been happening through them. So, wish them the absolute best of luck, best of work. And hopefully we get to see them and do an episode soon. And I'll be looking forward to that. Alrighty. Cincinnati Cyclones picked up a victory, kind of swept Tulsa Oilers over the weekend. They clinched with the two road victories, they clinched the playoff berth for the Kelly Cup playoffs. And they got about a month left of hockey to be played. Over the weekend, Toledo Walleyes and Cincinnati Cyclones clinched they both clinched a playoff spot as they fight in the division. Cyclones winning on the road over the weekend, to face the Tulsa Oilers 2-game series. They won Friday 5-4, and they picked up a victory on Saturday 4-1. Final scores: Justin Vive and Zach Andrusiak both put up goals. Justin's put up 28th of the season, and Zach's put up 25, which is 25th. Cincinnati coming into the week 37-12-3 with 83 points. As Toledo Walleyes coming into this week 39-15-2, 84. Both Toledo's. When do we have this? All right. So they're kind of important key dates for the Cyclones coming up. March 17th and the 18th, which is this Friday and Saturday. They're taking on Iowa Heartlanders. Both days, the puck drops at 7:30. And then they'll be back on Sunday to take on the Fort Wayne Comets at home. Puck drops to that one at 3 p.m. Cincinnati will be facing the Walleyes and the Fields one more time this year. For the Walleyes, they will be taking them on at home or on the road on April 7th. And then on April 9th, which is a Sunday, they'll be on the road to take on Indy Field. It's kind of like a home-road series. Final game of the season will be April 15th on the road. So we'll talk about that as well closer to time. All right. World Baseball Classic. I got that. I'm just kind of crossing off my list here. All right. So the NFLPA has called out the Cincinnati Bengals for basically for workers' compensation benefits. And this was an article that was written and produced by SB Nations at a Cincinnati Bengals community. Okay. It is written by Jason Garrison on Saturday night. And, basically what this says, there was a tweet that was posted out on March 11th at 6:51 p.m. The NFLPA tweeted this out: "Attention all players. In a move that could impact our entire membership at Bengals, ownership is attempting to strip all athletes in Ohio of their workers' compensation benefits. Check your email for more information and reach out to your PD with any questions." Now, the first thing that kind of jumps to my mind is just something doesn't seem right. First of all, it's kind of hard to believe that the Bengals franchise and ownership will do anything to allow their players to be screwed out of an opportunity of getting better. I know that there's questions, and I don't think that the NFL has the top tier medical solutions and medical staffing, because time and time again seems to prove that injuries just keep on happening and careers and lives get jeopardized. But it's kind of hard to see, especially as the image of the Bengals are going up. They're being considered as one of these top tier elite teams, and now they're kind of being thrown back in the mix. So this is what the article is written by Jason. He said on Saturday night, the NFLPA called out the Cincinnati Bengals, stated the team's ownership, the Browns family, is trying to strip the athletes in Ohio of workers' compensation benefits. The game of football is an extremely physical one and has a high injury rate at the professional level. Because of this, players have been entitled for workers' compensation when they are sidelined. Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. Now, this is basically, take my situation, for example. I got hurt at work, and they have a compensation program, which, because I got hurt at work while I was working on their premises, and it was due to something that happened naturally at work, there to cover me and compensate me while they are treating me. And that is kind of from majority of the jobs. I don't see many jobs out there that does not apply that. But The valiant to this is that for the Bengals side is that there are controversies where, a player will get injured, have to be put on the IR, or have to be sitting on the sideline. They're not being played. They're not being utilized. And now I guess the Bengals, Ohio, this also refers to the Browns, no longer want to pay the compensation for them to sit on the sidelines. Basically, is if you play, you get paid. If you don't play, you don't get paid. I think it's that simple. I don't quite agree with that on a lot of ends. Let's continue reading and find out more. According to WCPO's Tanya O'Rourke, okay, I apologize if I did not say that correctly, Bengals ownership asked Ohio legislators to strip Bengals and Browns players of their workers' compensation rights, which for me takes a whole nother image to playing a sport, especially for the Bengals or Browns. And depending on how this turned out, it may change some people's minds playing in the future for Cincinnati. Okay? Bengals, the NFLPA said that they will fight the proposal, and this isn't the first time that workers' compensation rights for players have been attacked, and they will do everything they can to protect the rights of the players. I'm all for it. All right, the article continues to say, under the rule proposal from Bengals ownership, there would be a statute of limitations on injuries suffered while playing for an Ohio team, and even if a player leaves to play for another team in a different state, they wouldn't be able to file for any injury sustained in Ohio after 5 years had passed. The Bengals have not responded to the NFLPA's accusations or made any public statements, so there's not a lot to report on. Okay, so we'll stay tuned to this thing. But I think overall, and I don't know the details, and when we read the details, we'll tell you more. But apparently, they want a limitation on injuries suffered. They want to limit the compensations of injured players. And so if you play for the Bengals, you got hurt, right? And let's say you busted your knee, you tore your ACL. Then you got traded, or you became a free agent, you signed with the Dolphins. Then Ohio still has compensation. But they only, from a different state, they wouldn't be able to file for an injury sustained in Ohio. Okay, so they would only have a 5-year window span to sustain it. Now, here's my thing. What I think needs to happen is that if you are active playing and you got hurt on the field or on the team playing, and it wasn't an injury driving to work, it wasn't an injury playing with your kids at the park, it was an injury either on the weight room where you dropped a dumbbell, on your foot, Joe Musgrove. Sorry, San Diego Padres, Joe Musgrove. It wasn't an injury where you were warming up on the field, getting ready for a game, and you pulled a muscle. And it wasn't an injury where you got tackled and you tore your knee. Okay? Then that's where the Bengals come into play. Workers' compensation, you're entitled to it. If you have a current open claim with Ohio, with workers' compensation for the Bengals, let's say you're the tight end, you tore your knee, you got released, so you signed with Miami, now you have Ohio, Miami. What needs to happen, in my opinion, that workers' compensation needs to get transferred to Miami. And then Miami, that is a case where that particular injury is only responsible for Ohio. And it needs to be active before you leave to another team. You can't go injure your knee, become better, and not say anything until after you leave. I don't think that's possible. I mean, obviously there are physicals, and I don't know, maybe they need to readjust or reestablish their physical exams, but NFL. So because I don't want, the other thing is that I don't want. Yeah, I think because players do take advantage of this, and I can see why. You go out and you get hurt with the Bengals, all right? But then you go to Miami and you sign with the Dolphins. You pass the physical, but the first week in practice, you tear your ACL, and that's because you had an existing injury with the Bengals. So you go back to Ohio saying, "Hey, I want to workers' compensation on you." Yeah, and those are valid questions. Those are valid concerns. I don't know how many players have that issue, but if you go, what they need to do is this is why there's a physical in place, all right? Unless there's an existing claim in Ohio with one of these teams, and when they go, if you have an existing right knee claim, you go over to Miami, that claim, that medical analysis, that medical examiner needs to examine you, determine what was pre-injured with Ohio, with the Bengals, and what's new. And whatever's new, Miami's responsible for, and then have Cincinnati responsible for it. I don't know. I just think overall, right now, the players are, the Bengals are at the top of the food chain. Now, I agree, listen, there are some loopholes, and every team's not perfect. But, and I'm certain that whatever the case may be, Cincinnati will approach it, attack it, and really just, re-solidify it. And I think it's best for the players because they're on a good program. They don't want to discourage players coming to play for Cincinnati or whatever the case may be. So, but I think that it gravitated news this morning for me, caught my attention, and I was like, all right, you know what? I want to bring that up because it is a struggle. It is a battle. And I want to make sure that, I'm on the side of making sure that these fans are well suited and well taken care of, and these players are well taken care of, before, during, and after. And I think that there needs to also be, and maybe there already is, it's just me not being educated enough, and I apologize, but there needs to be, the NFL needs to have also some sort of liability in place for their players, especially if there's an injury after their career and something happens where they can't, something happens 4 or 5 years down the road. So, but all that. So we'll cover that story as that to come. Let's take our last time out. Let's head to the bottom of the hour, bottom of the program, and Superstars of the Week, Show of the Week, SmackDown news, talk a little bit about Hall of Fame, get you guys ready for Raw, wrap up the program. You guys are listening to The Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, 144, bottom half of the program. Let's go ahead and give you guys our last great segment of the day. I want to give a big shout out to Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link, and for more information, go out and check out epidemicsound.com. All about music prior to the show is given to you by Epidemic Sound. Dylan Sittis. Swoosh. You move too fast. Available on epidemicsound.com. Alright. XFL took place over the weekend. I got it right here. Quickly for you guys. Just give you some XFL scores as week 4 concluded. Houston Roughnecks demolished Orlando Guardians 44-16. Seattle Sea Dragons defeated San Antonio Brahmas 15-6. The St. Louis Battlehawks and the Arlington Renegades went battle. The Battlehawks won 24-11, and DC Defenders took the victory over Vegas Vipers 32-18. Week 4 belongs to the road teams as we head into week 5 this Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Houston Roughnecks take on the Seattle Sea Dragons. And there'll be 2 Saturday games and then a Sunday game we'll take a look at during the rest of the week. As of week 4, the XFL standings in the North Division, the DC Defenders remain undefeated as the St. Louis Battlehawks move to 3-1. Seattle Sea Dragons battle 500 at 2-2, and the Vegas Vipers are winless at 0-4. In the South Division, looks a little similar with the Houston Roughnecks at 4-0, Arlington Renegades 2-2, San Antonio Brahmas 1-3, and the Orlando Guardians are 0-4. So it gets you a little bit of XFL. All right, listen, it's been something that we haven't talked about in a while, and I kind of want to bring it back to you guys a little bit and bring to your attention that, hey, listen, every week there is a show that just stands out the most for one another. I know it's going to be kind of difficult to, I say I've been wanting to do this for a while, and then I just keep on prolonging this. Well, it is back, our shows of the week, our superstar of the week. And that belongs, in my opinion, to Show of the Week. Drum roll, please. And it goes to Raw. Listen, I mean, it's kind of been, you had the fallout of AEW Revolution last week, and I kind of anticipated kind of a softer landing spot for both Dynamite and Rampage, and that's what we saw. SmackDown has kind of been, I think that there is a lot of going on, and you would have thought that maybe the intentions of the number 1 contender spot for the IC title, but it was a kind of predictable. We'll talk about that in a moment. But overall, Raw kind of shoot out my attention. Heading into WrestleMania, a couple more matches announced, a combination of seeing, John Cena return, the Bloodline kind of contributed to a huge factor. They began the show, they ended the show. I think we see more of the whole story between Kevin and Sami unfold inside, on Raw. And I really like, I think it was a smoother show. Nothing overwhelming, but just enough work and enough excitement to keep you going. And a matter of fact, kept me going for all 3 hours. I really liked how it was laid out. So last week was Raw. Talking about Superstar of the Year. I'm going to give credit here. I mean, I had a runner-up. Grayson Waller was my runner-up. Let me just be honest with that. I think whenever you get a chance to cut a promo along with Shawn Michaels, you gotta have your A game on. And this is a really big stepping block momentum for Grayson Waller. But then you see Johnny Gargano. So, but he's my runner-up. And one more time, the superstar of the week for me is Roxanne Perez. Really great battle with for the NXT Women's Championship. She laid it out on the line. It was a scary sight to see when we saw her collapse last week, taken to the hospital, stayed the night. Now, regardless of if it was a gimmick to something that is going to build into a feud down the road, I don't know. Or if is this something that was actually realistic. Regardless, whether she played it or not, it was really well perceived. I think it highlighted last week because it shows you that, wrestling is not an easy process. Not anyone can just get in the ring and show you guys, and put on a 5-star match or, in this case, about 4.5 star for title defense, and so her collapsing, kind of really is kind of like an eye opener. It reminds you that, hey, this is just as much as a real sport as anything else, that people do get hurt, people do get injured, that, you can see there is a huge risk factor, but, this is how bad do you want it? It also shows for me that don't take championships for granted. Don't take lives for granted. So I think that was a really nice touch for that. So expect to see on Raw tonight, we have Brock Lesnar to come face-to-face with Omos. Let's be honest, and I think I want to talk a little bit more about Brock Lesnar at some point this week. let's be honest with each other. Do you guys like Brock Lesnar and Omos at WrestleMania? And I think it's cool for Brock Lesnar because it steps outside his comfort zone from what he's normally carrying. Normally, he's kind of facing the top tier athletes who can be up there with the big dogs, right? AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Omos, in my opinion, is still growing with the company, right? So, in this sense, I feel like Brock Lesnar's carrying a little bit more on his shoulder than Omos. But yet again, I think Brock Lesnar has more to prove. See, in my opinion, Omos is growing. He's growing with the company. He's now wanting to maybe show off his work and what he's been practicing and what he's been working on to a big guy like Brock Lesnar. Well, Brock Lesnar hasn't been on a hot streak as of late. He's actually lost the last few of his matches, including Bobby Lashley at Elimination Chamber. He's lost against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam and WrestleMania. Let's not forget about those. So, in my eyes, Brock Lesnar hasn't really, it's kind of cold. And I think that this WrestleMania win, it would be warranted. You need to get back on the right track. I know that there's other stories about Brock, and that'll be a discussion for later. But I really feel like the WWE has put him in a position where if he gets beat by Omos, yes, it will do wonders for Omos. It will bring him up to the next level, and it's kind of like putting him over. You're putting Omos over, but I'm still not 100% confident giving Omos that next big, giant beast personality. And you would actually do, in my opinion, more harm than foul. So they will face off with each other. We will see on Raw, Edge calls out Finn Balor. So 2 weeks ago, Finn Balor invites Edge to Raw, wanting to challenge him to WrestleMania. Last week, Edge got himself involved and said, listen, face me one-on-one this tonight, and I will give you my answer. So we'll see that tonight. And I like this. Is obviously, we're leading up to a WrestleMania match. My thoughts are Hell in a Cell. I'm also throwing in my opinion, career match. I know that Edge is having fun and his time is limited, but I really think the only way to walk off is by letting Finn Balor finish your career off. I just don't see anyone else who'd really do that. And we really don't know, is Randy Orton come back, whatever the case may be. So, anyways, yeah. I'm predicting Edge. That's kind of where I'm going at. We will see Bianca Belair take on Chelsea Green one-on-one action tonight as the Judgment Day take on Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. This is kind of a little interesting because Johnny now has his match at Stand and Deliver for NXT. He'll be back on Raw. Judgment Day is getting ready for WrestleMania. Damian Priest does not have a WrestleMania match. Does that concern you? The remainder of Judgment Day has a WrestleMania match, but Damian Priest. I'm a little worried about that. Also, I'm also expecting something to happen great with Grayson Waller on Raw, maybe costing Johnny Gargano a match. So we'll see a little bit of everything on Raw tonight. Kind of exciting. I don't know if this is going to be as exciting as it was last week, but we'll get a chance to see a little bit of excitement. Yeah. Hey, SmackDown last night. I liked. On Friday night, I think it was all right. Let's be honest. Fatal 5-Way, a little predictable by a little bit. So I'm kind of a little bit disappointed in how that kind of ended. I still truly believe we should see ourselves a triple threat. Now, I understand Gunther's frustration, but as well as I know, Gunther will probably be welcoming in open arms to facing both of them and being the best and saying, hey, I can beat both of them regardless, so let me just have both of them. It's a way to stretch this out a little bit further, right? Because, there's really not much build-up other than Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Gunther. I mean, and we already know that no matter what happens, we're going to see a fight. But both Drew McIntyre and Sheamus won last night. Back on Friday. Adam Pearce has announced that they will go on to this SmackDown this week and face each other one-on-one to determine the number one contender spot. You could kind of almost image either a double count-out, a double elimination, whatever the case may be. But a little predictable on my end, a little bit predictable. As we mentioned, Rey Mysterio was crowned was the first WWE superstar to be announced into the Hall of Fame class of 2023. From my understanding, the Great Muta and Batista will be joining next class as we start shaking up. And I'm excited because I was kind of pondering over if we're going to see a Hall of Fame or not this year. I thought we would. The only other thing I would have thought of was if Vince McMahon was going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame and he was going to be the only person, which I would understand, right? And I still think if something down the line where Vince McMahon gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, he should probably be the only person. We talked about this a couple of years ago with The Undertaker. Well, Vince McMahon is definitely a validated person. That should be the only person to be inducted that year. So we're still finding things out. As far as I'm aware, I could Google it really fast. 2023 WWE Hall of Fame. So we got Rey Mysterio being the first person. That's all I got. I heard. I saw signs. I don't know. I'll have to confirm that with you guys. Here we go. So right now we have Rey Mysterio. So maybe we're waiting for more. I'm assuming the Great Muta, Batista, has yet to be displayed in WWE, and I'll go back to that. Rey Mysterio, real quick, one-time WWE champion, two-time World Heavyweight Champion, two-time WWE Intercontinental Champion, two-time WWE United States Champion, eight-time WCW/WWE Cruiserweight Champion, four-time WWE Tag Team Champion, one-time WWE SmackDown Tag Team Champion, three-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, one-time WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Champion, and 2006 Royal Rumble winner. Inducting him will be Conan, and it's going to be, I think, interesting to see how Dominic kind of puts himself in this position. So, I'm kind of excited to see all that. Still much more to come. We'll see who else and everything. This will be done. The Hall of Fame ceremony March 31st, which is a Friday, Los Angeles, California, at the Crypto Arena venue. I want to say it was at the SmackDown, just like last year. So, all right. So we'll confirm as the next names pop up. Enjoyed the show today. It's a Monday. Want to thank everyone for tuning in. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and stay tuned. We'll be back again tomorrow. You guys are listening to The Throw-In. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.